You're seeing this right now because something inside you knows. You know that shift is happening. You know that your life is about to change in ways you can barely comprehend right now. And I want to tell you something that might sound simple, but it's absolutely true. You're not here by accident. This moment, right now, where you're reading these words, where you're feeling that stirring in your soul, this is not random. This is the universe conspiring to wake you up to the greatest season of your entire existence. Now, I've spent decades studying human potential, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that there are moments in life when everything converges. Moments when the person you've been, the lessons you've learned, the pain you've endured, and the dreams you've carried all come together like a symphony reaching its crescendo. You're standing at that threshold right now. You might not see it clearly yet. You might be looking at your current circumstances and thinking, how can this be my biggest season? Look at where I am. Look at what I don't have. Look at what I've lost. But that's exactly the point. The caterpillar doesn't know it's about to become a butterfly. It just knows something is changing. Let me share something with you that transformed my entire understanding of how life works. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Read that again. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This isn't just some nice philosophical idea to write in a journal. This is the fundamental principle that separates people who live extraordinary lives from people who live in quiet desperation. Your perception creates your reality. Not sometimes, not when you're feeling good, always. Every single moment of every single day. Right now, you might be facing challenges that seem insurmountable. Maybe you've lost someone you love. Maybe your bank account doesn't reflect your dreams. Maybe your health isn't what you want it to be. Maybe relationships have crumbled. Maybe you've failed at something important to you. And here's what I want you to understand. These aren't obstacles to your biggest season. These are the preparation for it. Everything, and I mean everything, that has happened to you up until this moment has been preparing you for what's about to unfold. You see, most people spend their entire lives waiting for conditions to be perfect before they step into their greatness. They say things like, when I have more money, then I'll start that business. When I lose weight, then I'll put myself out there. When I'm more confident, then I'll take that risk. When the timing is right, then I'll make my move. But here's the truth that will set you free. The timing is never right. The conditions are never perfect. The universe doesn't wait for you to feel ready. The universe waits for you to make a decision. Your biggest season begins the moment you decide it. Begins. Not when everything is lined up perfectly. Not when you have all the answers. Not when you've figured out every step of the path. It begins when you make a choice, right now in this moment, to see yourself differently, to see your life differently, to understand that you are not a victim of circumstances but a creator of experiences. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the most successful, fulfilled, joyful people you know or have read about. Do you think they got there because everything was easy for them? Do you think they faced fewer challenges than you? Absolutely not. In fact, most of them faced more. But here's the difference. They didn't let their circumstances define them. They let their vision pull them forward. They understood that the size of your problems is directly proportional to the size of your purpose. If you're facing massive challenges right now, congratulations. You've been called to something massive. The universe is always giving you exactly what you need, even when it looks like the opposite. When you lose something, the universe is creating space for something better. When a door closes, it's because you're being redirected to a door that's actually meant for you. When you face resistance, it's because you're building the strength you'll need for the next level. Nothing is random. Nothing is punishment. Everything is preparation. But here's where most people get stuck. They understand this intellectually, but they don't live it. They read these ideas, they nod their heads, they feel inspired for a moment, and then they go right back to their old patterns of thinking. They go right back to complaining about what's wrong, focusing on what's missing, dwelling on past failures, and wondering why life isn't giving them what they want. And the reason they stay stuck is because they're trying to change their circumstances without changing themselves. Let me tell you something that might shake you up a little bit. You cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. If you're facing the same problems over and over again, if you're attracting the same kind of toxic relationships, if you keep hitting the same financial ceiling, if you keep experiencing the same disappointments, it's not because the world is against you, it's because you haven't changed your inner world. You're still operating from the same beliefs, the same fears, the same limited sense of what's possible for you. Your biggest season requires a new version of you, not a slightly improved version, not you with a few better habits. A completely new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of seeing yourself and your place in this world. And this isn't about becoming someone you're not. This is about becoming who you truly are, underneath all the conditioning, all the fear, all the stories you've been telling yourself about your limitations. You were born with everything you need, already inside you. Think about that. A tiny seed contains the entire blueprint for a massive tree. It doesn't need to become something it's not. It needs to stop resisting its own nature. It needs to allow what's already within it to express itself. You're the same way. You don't need to acquire worthiness. You don't need to earn the right to live an extraordinary life. You need to remember that you already have it. You need to remove the blocks that are keeping your true nature from expressing itself. And what are those blocks? They're beliefs. Beliefs about what you deserve. Beliefs about what's possible for someone like you. Beliefs about what you're capable of. Beliefs you inherited from your parents, your culture, your past experiences, your failures. These beliefs are running your life like software running in the background of a computer. And most of the time, you're not even aware they're there, but they're making every decision for you. They're determining what opportunities you see and which ones you miss. They're controlling what risks you take and which ones you avoid. They're shaping your entire reality. So if you want to enter the biggest season of your life, you have to be willing to examine these beliefs. You have to be willing to question everything you think you know about yourself and about how life works. You have to be willing to let go of the stories that have kept you safe but small. Because here's the thing about growth. It requires you to step into the unknown. It requires you to release your grip on certainty. It requires you to trust in something bigger than your own understanding. Most people are absolutely terrified of the unknown. They would rather stay in a miserable situation they know than risk stepping into possibility they can't control. They would rather complain about their job than take the leap into their passion. They would rather stay in a lukewarm relationship than be alone and open to real love. They would rather maintain the status quo than face the temporary discomfort of transformation. And I understand that. I really do. The known feels safe, even when it's killing you slowly. But safety is an illusion. The only real security in life comes from knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. And you can. You absolutely can. You've already proven this to yourself. Think about everything you've survived up until this point. Think about every challenge you thought would break you but didn't. Think about every time you wanted to give up but somehow found the strength to keep going. You're still here. You're still standing. You're still searching for something more. That's not weakness. That's incredible strength. That's proof that you're ready for what's next. Your biggest season is going to ask things of you that you've never been asked before. It's going to require courage you didn't know you had. It's going to push you beyond your comfort zone in ways that might feel terrifying at first. But that's exactly how you know you're on the right path. Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're comfortable, you're not expanding. If you're not being challenged, you're not evolving. If everything feels easy, you're probably not pursuing anything worth having. Now, I want to talk about something really important, the relationship between your thoughts and your reality. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where theory becomes practice. Your thoughts are not just passive observations of reality. Your thoughts are creative forces. Every thought you think is sending out a vibration into the universe, and the universe responds to that vibration by bringing you experiences that match it. This isn't mystical nonsense. This is quantum physics. This is how energy works. This is how life works. When you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, not another day of this, you're setting the tone for your entire day. When you look at your bank account and think, I'll never get ahead, you're programming your subconscious mind to find evidence to support that belief. When you look in the mirror and think, I'm not attractive enough, smart enough, talented enough, you're creating that reality. Not because it's true, but because you're focusing all your attention on it. But the opposite is also true. When you wake up and your first thought is, I wonder what miracles will show up today, you're opening yourself to possibility. When you look at your current financial situation and think, this is temporary, I'm on my way to abundance, you're reprogramming your mind for success. When you look in the mirror and think, I am exactly where I need to be, becoming exactly who I'm meant to be, you're stepping into your power. This isn't about lying to yourself or ignoring reality. This is about understanding that what you call reality is just one possible interpretation of circumstances. Two people can experience the exact same event and have completely different experiences of it. One person loses their job and sees it as devastating failure. Another person loses their job and sees it as liberation and opportunity. Same event, different perception, different reality, different outcome. So the question becomes, what reality are you creating with your thoughts right now? Are you using your mental energy to focus on what's wrong, or are you using it to focus on what's possible? Are you rehearsing your limitations, or are you practicing your greatness? Are you telling yourself the story of your past failures, or are you writing the story of your future success? Because whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you give your attention to grows. Whatever you talk about consistently becomes your reality. Your biggest season demands that you become disciplined about your thoughts. Not occasionally, not when you remember. Every single day, every single moment. You have to stand guard at the door of your mind and decide what you're going to allow in and what you're going to keep out. You have to become aware of the conversation you're having with yourself all day long. And most importantly, you have to be willing to change that conversation when it's not serving you. This is inner work. This is the real work. Most people want to change their circumstances without doing this inner work, and it doesn't work that way. You cannot attract a different reality from the same state of being. You have to change first. You have to become the person who already has what you want. You have to think the thoughts that person thinks. You have to feel the feelings that person feels. You have to take the actions that person takes. And then the circumstances will change to match your new state of being. Let me tell you something else that's crucial. You don't need anyone's permission to step into your biggest season. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You don't need anyone to validate your dreams. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're ready. In fact, most people won't understand what you're doing. They'll think you're crazy. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll project their own fears and limitations onto you, and that's okay. That's not about you, that's about them. The people around you are comfortable with the version of you they know. When you start changing, when you start growing, when you start stepping into your power, it makes them uncomfortable. It holds up a mirror to their own unfulfilled potential. It challenges their belief that staying small and safe is the right choice. So they'll try to pull you back down. Not because they're bad people, but because your growth is threatening to their worldview. Don't let that stop you. Love them anyway, but don't let their fear become your ceiling. Your biggest season might mean leaving some people behind. It might mean creating distance from relationships that drain you. It might mean disappointing people who want you to stay the same. And that's one of the hardest parts of transformation. But here's what you need to understand. You're not responsible for other people's feelings about your growth. You're not being selfish by choosing yourself. You're not being mean by setting boundaries. You're being true to your soul's calling. And anyone who truly loves you will want that for you, even if they don't understand it. As you step into this new season, you're going to meet new people. People who vibrate at the frequency you're moving toward. People who support your vision. People who celebrate your wins instead of minimizing them. People who challenge you to grow instead of encouraging you to play small. This is the law of attraction in action. As you raise your consciousness, you'll naturally attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that match that higher consciousness, but you have to trust the process. You have to be willing to release what no longer serves you to make space for what does. Now, let's talk about failure, because this is where most people quit, right before their breakthrough. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has failed more times than you've probably even tried. The difference is, they didn't let failure define them. They didn't let it mean anything about their worth or their potential. They saw it for what it really is: feedback, information, a course correction. Nothing more, nothing less. When you try something and it doesn't work out, you haven't failed. You've learned something valuable. You've discovered one way that doesn't work, which brings you closer to finding the way that does. Edison didn't fail 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He found 10,000 ways that didn't work. That's not semantics. That's a completely different way of interpreting experience. And that different interpretation makes all the difference in whether you keep going, or give up. Your biggest season will include failures. It will include setbacks. It will include moments when you question everything and wonder if you made a mistake. This is normal. This is part of the process. This is how you build the resilience and wisdom you'll need for the next level. Don't run from these moments. Don't see them as signs that you're on the wrong path. See them as evidence that you're on the right path because you're being tested and refined. Gold isn't purified by being comfortable. It's purified by going through fire. You're being purified right now. I want you to understand something about your desires. The dreams you carry, the visions you have for your life, they weren't randomly assigned to you. You didn't just happen to want what you want. Those desires were planted in you by the same source that created you. They're part of your purpose. They're breadcrumbs leading you toward your destiny. So when you feel that pull towards something more, don't dismiss it as unrealistic or foolish. Honor it. Follow it. Trust it. It's there for a reason. But here's the catch. You don't get to control how it unfolds. You don't get to dictate the timeline. You don't get to see the whole path before you take the first step. You have to be willing to move forward with incomplete information. You have to be willing to take action before you feel ready. You have to be willing to trust that the path will appear as you walk it. This is faith. Not religious faith necessarily, although it can be. This is faith in the process. Faith in the intelligence that orchestrates all of life. Faith that you're being guided even when you can't see where you're going. Most people want guarantees before they commit. They want to know that it's going to work out before they risk anything. But that's not how life works. That's not how growth works. That's not how magic happens. The universe doesn't reward certainty. The universe rewards faith in action. It rewards the willingness to step into the unknown. It rewards the courage to bet on yourself even when the odds seem stacked against you. And here's something beautiful. The moment you make a real commitment, the universe conspires to support you. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. People show up to help you. Resources appear. Synchronicities happen. Not because you're lucky, because you've aligned yourself with your purpose. And when you do that, you tap into a power that's infinitely greater than your individual effort. You become a channel for something bigger than yourself to work through you. This is what it means to be in flow. This is what it means to be in alignment. This is what it feels like when you're living your biggest season. Things still require effort, but there's an ease to it. There's a sense of rightness. There's a feeling of being carried by something larger than yourself. And that's available to you right now. Not someday, not when you figured everything out. Right now, in this moment, with exactly what you have, exactly where you are. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You don't need more skills. You don't need more connections. You need more commitment. You need more clarity. You need more courage. And all of those things are available to you right now. They're not out there somewhere. They're inside you, waiting to be activated, waiting for you to decide that this is your time, that this is your season, that you're done playing small, that you're done waiting for permission, that you're done living a fraction of the life you're capable of living. Let me tell you what happens when you really commit, when you burn the boats and decide there's no turning back. When you stop entertaining backup plans and put all your energy into your primary vision, when you stop hedging your bets and go all in, that's when everything changes. That's when the universe takes you seriously. That's when doors start opening. That's when the right people show up. That's when opportunities appear out of nowhere. Because you've finally given the universe something clear to respond to. You've finally sent out a signal that says, I'm ready, I'm serious, I'm committed. Up until now, you might have been sending mixed signals. You say you want something, but your actions don't match your words. You say you're committed, but you keep one foot out the door. You say this is your priority, but you don't protect time for it. You say you believe in yourself, but you let the first obstacle stop you. The universe responds to your actions, not your intentions. It responds to who you're being, not who you're thinking about becoming. So if you want to enter the biggest season of your life, you have to become unmistakable in your commitment. You have to show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. You have to do the work when it's hard and when it's boring and when nobody's watching and when it feels like nothing's happening. Because that's when you're building the foundation. That's when you're developing the character. That's when you're proving to yourself and to the universe that you're serious. And here's what nobody tells you about commitment. It's liberating. When you're half in and half out, you're in constant conflict. Part of you wants to go forward, part of you wants to retreat. It's exhausting, it's confusing, it's paralyzing. But when you fully commit, all that inner conflict disappears. You're no longer debating whether you should do it, you're only figuring out how. You're no longer questioning if it's possible. You're only discovering the way. All that energy that was going into doubt and fear and hesitation now goes into creation and action and manifestation. This is what it means to be alive. Not just existing, going through the motions, numbing yourself to get through each day. Really alive, engaged, excited, awake, contributing something meaningful, creating something that matters, becoming someone you're proud of. This is what your soul craves. This is what you were born for. Not comfort, not security, not approval, purpose, growth, contribution, love. These are the things that make life worth living. And your biggest season is going to give you all of that. But it's going to ask you to release the things that are keeping you from it. It's going to ask you to let go of the need to control everything. It's going to ask you to surrender your attachment to how you think things should look. It's going to ask you to trust the process even when it doesn't make sense. It's going to ask you to be patient and persistent in equal measure. It's going to ask you to keep showing up even when you can't see results yet. Because here's the thing about transformation. It happens slowly and then all at once. You work and work and work and it feels like nothing's changing. You keep planting seeds and watering them and you don't see any growth. You keep taking action and it feels like you're spinning your wheels. And then one day, seemingly overnight, everything shifts, everything clicks into place, everything blooms. But it wasn't overnight. It was all those days and weeks and months of invisible progress that suddenly became visible. This is where you are right now. You're in that phase where you're planting seeds, where you're doing the inner work, where you're shifting your consciousness, where you're taking action even though you can't see results yet, and it might feel frustrating. It might feel like it's taking too long. It might feel like nothing's happening. But I promise you, everything is happening. Under the surface, where you can't see it, transformation is taking place. Your job is to trust that. Your job is to keep going. Your job is to stay committed even when it's hard, and it will be hard sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that once you commit to your biggest season, everything becomes easy. It doesn't. In fact, it might get harder before it gets easier, because you're being asked to grow. You're being asked to become someone you've never been. You're being asked to develop capacities you don't currently have. That requires stretching. That requires discomfort. That requires persistence through difficulty. But here's what makes it worth it. Every time you push through discomfort, you expand your capacity. Every time you face a fear and do it anyway, you become more courageous. Every time you fail and get back up, you become more resilient. Every time you choose your vision over your circumstances, you become more powerful. You're not just working toward external goals. You're becoming someone new. You're transforming from the inside out. And that transformation is the real gift. Because here's the secret that most people never understand. It's not actually about the achievement. It's about who you become in the pursuit of the achievement. The success is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But the real treasure is the person you had to become to achieve it. That version of you, the one who has overcome all the obstacles, who has developed all those new capacities, who has stretched beyond all previous limitations, that person is unstoppable. That person can create anything. That person is truly free. And that's who you're becoming right now. In this season, through everything you're experiencing, through every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt, every leap of faith, you're becoming that person, the person you were always meant to be, the person you came here to be, the person who is capable of living the life you dream about. So stop waiting, stop preparing, stop overthinking, stop looking for signs. This is the sign. These words, right now, this is your confirmation. You're ready, you're called, you're capable. Everything you need is already within you. Everything you need is already available to you. Everything you need is already conspiring to support you. You just have to say yes. You just have to take the first step. You just have to trust that the path will unfold. Your biggest season is here, not coming. not on its way. Here, now, in this moment. It begins with a decision to see yourself differently, a decision to honor your dreams, a decision to trust your inner guidance, a decision to take action despite fear, a decision to keep going despite obstacles, a decision to become who you were born to be. Make that decision right now. Don't wait another day. Don't wait another hour. Don't wait another minute. Your life is waiting for you to claim it. Your purpose is waiting for you to step into it. Your destiny is waiting for you to fulfill it. Everything that has happened to you, everything you've survived, everything you've learned, it was all preparing you for this moment. This is your time. This is your season. This is your opportunity to create the life you've always known was possible. Not the life that others think you should live. Not the life that's safe and predictable. The life that makes your soul sing. The life that honors your gifts. The life that serves your purpose. The life that leaves a legacy. That life is available to you right now. All you have to do is choose it. All you have to do is commit to it. All you have to do is become it. And when you do, when you really commit, when you really step into your power, when you really align with your purpose, you'll look back at this moment and recognize it as the turning point. The moment when everything changed. The moment when you decided that enough was enough. The moment when you stopped settling. The moment when you started truly living. This is that moment. Right here, right now. Don't let it pass you by. Don't let fear win. Don't let doubt sabotage you. Don't let circumstances limit you. You're bigger than all of that. You're capable of so much more than you've allowed yourself to experience so far. The truth is, you've always known this. Somewhere inside you, beneath all the conditioning and the fear and the limiting beliefs, you've always known that you were meant for something great. You've always felt that pull toward more. You've always sensed that there's a bigger life waiting for you. That knowing never goes away. It might get quieter. It might get buried under responsibilities and disappointments and practicality. But it never disappears. And right now, it's calling to you louder than ever. That's why you're here. That's why you're reading this. That's why something inside you is stirring and waking up and saying yes. Listen to that voice. Trust that voice. Follow that voice. It's the voice of your true self. It's the voice of your soul. It's the voice of the infinite intelligence that lives within you. It knows the way. It knows your purpose. It knows what you're capable of. And it's guiding you toward your biggest season. All you have to do is get out of your own way. All you have to do is release the resistance. All you have to do is surrender to the flow. All you have to do is trust. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be. Trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. Trust that you have everything you need. Trust that you're being guided and supported and loved. Trust that your biggest season is not just possible, it's inevitable, because it is. When you align with your purpose, when you commit to your growth, when you choose love over fear, when you take action despite uncertainty, you become unstoppable. The universe has no choice but to respond to that kind of commitment. Doors open, opportunities appear, people show up, miracles happen, and that's what's waiting for you. That's what's available to you. That's what's yours to claim. Your biggest season, your greatest life, your highest purpose. It's all right there, waiting for you to step into it. So take a breath. Feel the power of this moment. Feel the possibility. Feel the truth of who you really are. And then make the decision. The decision that changes everything. The decision that transforms your life. The decision to become who you were born to be. Make that decision right now. Your biggest season is here. And you're ready. You've always been ready. Now it's time to live like it.